How's the
foot?
Yeah, Phantom. Like, what's going on?
The Phantom toe.
Yeah.
No, it's so fucking weird. Like, obviously, never having had anything amputated, like I never thought I'd ever feel the sensation of phantom limb. But I was sitting last night and I was like, man, my fucking toenail. Like, wait a minute, I don't have a fucking toe there anymore. It's just so fucking weird. Like I said, like I felt like spots like my toenail. Like I could feel like I used to have ingrown toenails, so like I thought I felt that. I thought I felt the actual like sore on the bottom of my toe that had started this whole thing.
Wow.
Like I thought I felt a couple of different things. It was fucking weird. And then when they took the bandage off today, like it was so fucking funny because I put this little curtain in front of me. I was like, what the fuck is this about? And like, well, some people get kind of squeamish when they first see it. I was like, okay, not most people, but all right.
Yeah.
So like the second they took it off, I lifted it up so I could see over the curtain. Sent that picture out to a couple other people, the one that I posted on Facebook or Snapchat, and somebody wrote me back, was like, is that a fucking wonton wrapper on your foot?
Is that the same thing you sent in the group chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
And there he was, gone.
Welcome back to B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies. I am Timothy Bennett, your host for tonight. And welcome to our Rewatch Internet podcast, where we go back and rewatch all of our old podcast videos and we talk about it.
What? Was that what we're doing tonight?
Fuck no, that would be ridiculous.
That's
oh my
really
God.
bad. That's
Is
bad
that the
podcasting. Is
fucking
what that is.
trajectory of the fucking podcast world in
Possibly.
life? Like where they just
there's a lot of rewatch and then reaction videos
God.
of them reacting to
Like,
reacting of
hey,
videos.
we've been doing this podcast for 7 years. Let's rewatch our first 5 and like talk about that. That's like a fucking possible thing, and that's a sad moment.
That would be okay though, because that's 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, you've come a long way. You've changed, but
Yeah, I mean, we've grown, but we haven't grown that much.
But I see what you're saying, Tim. We are rewatching Marvel movies, the MCU in order on this series of podcasts that we're doing, and
we are.
And
I was just trying to pick fun at
Homeboy's not wrong.
And I hope people are following along and having a good time, because I know anybody that's a fan or a listener to something that this podcast that we're doing, they've done the same several times. So hey, I hope we make it more enjoyable for those motherfuckers.
Right. Joining me is Jason Chandler, giving us that wonderful speech.
Yeah.
I applaud you.
Thanks. That's oh my God. I paid $5 for that.
And then Aaron Banyan, 9 toes over there.
Nine toe Banyan.
He's officially a 9-toed son of a bitch.
True enough.
It still looks like a dilapidated pumpkin.
It's true.
From the feet up.
From the knees up.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about our last video, our last movie in the Phase 3 Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, we've said this before. I'm going to say it again. This isn't on the Disney Plus Phase list.
Disney hasn't gotten the total rights to it yet.
Yeah, so
but it technically is canon.
They just got rights to Logan and Deadpool, so they're catching up.
We decided to do the Spider-Man because he's such a prominent character in this Marvel universe,
and it's part of the universe. We have to.
We have
to share characters at this point anyway. I mean, there's at least three or four characters that show up in this movie that belong to the MCU.
And whatever the legal contract agreement is, like, this is part of the universe. This is part of the
That's
fucking
just
story.
silly.
Eventually, when Disney buys Sony, it'll
Yeah.
get glommed in with everything else.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
Trying to do
tonight
it
we're going to
right.
talk about the second Spider-Man film, solo film, Spider-Man Far From Home. And why is it called Far From Home?
Because he's in Europe.
Because he's in Europe.
Oh, he was
And
far
there's nothing
from.
further from New York than Europe.
He was also far from
Not
his
that far.
Peter-Tingle.
3-hour flight. No, I have no
Hey.
idea.
I was like, it's not a 3-hour flight.
It's got to be longer than that.
Cross country is
Oh,
a
way
3-hour
longer.
flight.
Yeah,
It's like a 16-hour flight.
yeah. It was a long one. I think that was the joke of the
Yeah.
plane ride.
But yeah, so they go to Europe. Yep. Now, first and foremost, I would love to go to that school and have
Yeah.
those teachers.
Yeah. Martin Starr.
Martin Starr is a teacher.
And JB Smoove is the other
JB
guy.
Smoove.
Yeah, buddy.
Hilarious. They were great.
Hannibal.
The only funny.
Hannibal Buress, yep.
Yep.
Oh,
he
You
yeah.
wasn't
don't see
in
him
this
in this.
one.
I was like, you don't see
No,
him in this
but
one.
He's in that school. He's in
You
that
get
school.
JB
He's a
Smoove
teacher.
instead of Hannibal
He-
Buress, which
yeah.
is okay.
It's
Tim-
okay.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, those two are the only time I laughed a little bit out loud in this movie.
Can I make one argument?
Yeah.
And they do reference it later in the movie, but this science trip to Europe, not scientific at all. Like they try to
Not
go to
scientific
museums. They try to go to
JB
art
Smooth
museums.
said it.
Yeah, he says
But
it
they
at
did
one
say
point.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
He did mention
But I was just like, I remember watching the video. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Because they're like a science-oriented school, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
probably. They probably
I thought
have
they
a
were science.
club
I
or
thought they were
some shit.
science-oriented, and I think this is the science club or whatever.
Which
but
it kind of sums up the whole how this movie felt and what it was. It was just kind of like didn't mean anything. Like it wasn't. It had no intention. Like I don't.
I'm gonna
besides-
wade into
but
the hot water real quick and say that
Okay.
I didn't give a shit about the first hour of this movie.
oh my god, this movie.
The
is
first
nothing
hour
to
really didn't do
remember.
much for me, and
No.
then like when things heated up, I was in. But the first
Yeah.
hour was just like,
Oh my god, it's love is distracting. Tim, are we gonna do financial or
yeah. Let's
budget?
let Tim do the.
I'm
do
just
the
I'm
thing
just
there.
waiting
Yeah,
for you guys to shut up.
I rolled
All
over you
right.
guys.
Hey, you kicked us off.
You
You
guys-
got us started off
I
on
say
the wrong track.
You guys are ready, amped up and ready to go. So
Uh-huh.
let me do the synopsis of this movie. Following the events of the Avengers Endgame 2019, Spider-Man must set up to take on new threats in a world that has changed forever. And that does play a huge part into why we're talking about this last. And we will get
Yeah.
into that in just a minute. This did come out in 2019. It's PG-13, 2 hours and 9 minutes. And honestly, I was like this whether or not it felt like 2 hours. A
Yeah.
part of me felt like it was about 2 hours, like on the nose, like it kind of
Same.
felt that
Yeah,
way.
I feel you on that.
But then there were sections that kind of did go quick.
Yeah.
It kind of
It
pushed.
had its slow moments and then it had its correct pacing moments.
Yeah. Oddly enough, this got a 7.4 out of 10 on the IMDb rating.
'cause everybody loves
Metascore
Tom
gave it a
Holland.
69. Do you agree?
No, I
No?
think it's they want to like it because of Endgame was so good and this is the follow-up movie. And then what Aaron said, Tom Holland.
Yeah, I think I think at this point everybody's really enamored of Tom Holland.
and
But
Zendaya or whatever.
yeah, her too, because her star was quickly rising at this point.
Mhm. And
But I mean,
Martin Starr.
Martin
I
Starr.
can't.
I love that guy.
I love
I
that
don't
guy.
know if I can give it that high a rating. I guess
I cannot. But all right.
The director is John Watts, who did the Homecoming.
Homecoming. Yep,
So at least they got the same director, which is cool.
it shows. I feel like
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it does. We can get into that too. I definitely have a couple things I want to mention
Yeah.
that I liked
yeah.
about the parallels, about the
Yeah.
connection. Other than that, this is $160 million budget. I really thought it would have been more. I could have easily see it be 180 plus. I actually, honestly, guessing, I would have probably guessed close to 200.
Well, you know, with the exchange rate, I mean, euros to dollars, you probably got a little.
Nice. But no, there was all right.
Opening weekend, it did 92 million.
Really?
Yeah. It really
Only
didn't do all that
92?
much. Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Because
kind of
of
a
the
bust.
fucking
Interesting.
For opening weekend, at least.
nobody
that was,
reads.
But still.
that was domestic. That was domestic.
Yeah.
The gross was 390 million domestic.
Wow. Okay. So it made its money back, but I think
Oh, yeah.
people were just like superheroed out after Endgame.
Possibly. I think
No.
you blame them though? Well,
I
Right.
think
not really, but
I think everybody went and watched it once because they were excited because of Endgame, like what's going to happen next, and then they were like not satisfied, so they didn't
Yeah.
rewatch it like I did Endgame. I watched this movie once when it came out in the theaters, and
same here.
no,
This is the second time ever watching it.
yeah, it's
Same.
just-
Today.
I didn't see it in the theaters, but same.
I mean, I'm not.
Uh,
Yeah,
I actually don't. And I was telling Jason, I couldn't remember if I watched this in theaters or if I just waited until it came out for
Mhm.
streaming or something. Because I really don't recall watching this in theaters. And I recall watching quite a bit in theaters, especially when
It's
it came
true.
into
You are
Marvel.
kind of a theater snob.
Yep, but
I do recall
don't
falling
recall
asleep in
watching
the
it.
theater and not feeling like I missed much.
I mean,
I fell
there's a number of
asleep as
movies we can get
Christ.
coin that too.
Jason, his hobby, expensive naps.
Right.
You know, I pay for that shit.
You'd be the worst movie
I'm not
critic.
smart.
Just
I'm-
write in your article,
Now-
be like, oh, I fell asleep at this point, so it must have been okay.
My
Worldwide
article's
gross.
Z.
Worldwide gross,
Ooh.
Who wants to take a guess?
390
400.
million
400.
domestic.
Oh, 400.
I'm gonna say 1.3 mil or billion.
1.3 mil. They
Yeah,
they
I know
lost
what I said.
money.
No.
Lots of money.
1.3 billion.
Well, shit. What was I saying? 400. I guess it has to be 600 million. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Aaron, you're closer. It was
Damn
almost 1.2. So it was
Okay.
Jesus.
it's a little under 1.2 billion. It's
That's
crazy.
because Tom Holland's
British.
I could easily see that being the reason.
Hey, side note, sorry, Aaron, to steal your thunder on this, but fucking, I listened to Mark Maron and Andrew
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Thank you.
Yes.
That guy's fucking British. I didn't know Andrew.
Andrew Garfield. Yep.
Yeah, I did
What
not
thunder
know
were you
that.
stealing?
Oh, you're always taking side notes.
Oh,
But yeah, he
I literally
was-
had nothing to say.
I know, right? Yeah, this is a cult back.
So to start this off, the one thing I wanted to mention, you earlier, just a couple minutes ago, said it had the same feel of the first one,
Yeah.
Homecoming.
Yep.
Nah.
Now the intro, it did. I agree. It has the same feel. It feels just like a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Director, all that. It had the same feel,
No.
same mood, tone.
I'm not saying same writing, Jason. I think directing wise, I think it's
Fair enough.
got the same feel.
Thank you for
What
reading
I-
my yeah.
What I liked is in the first one, in the Homecoming, they had that weird 80s, almost early 90s
It was the
cut out animated intro stuff.
Oh, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
talking about?
oh okay.
Yep.
And I don't know why. I was a sucker.
Where it was like paper on paper
Yeah.
and like, yeah. I know what you mean.
I really don't like that shit. I really don't. But I liked it for the Spider-Man thing. And I don't really know why. I just enjoyed
Oddly enough,
it.
because that works as a high school movie.
Yeah.
yes.
That
yeah.
works as a high
It
school
really
feel.
Yes.
And
that is the right
The fact that
yep.
they did this in the second one just concluded that why it feels exactly the same. They just did the same thing. They
Yeah.
just did it European style with all
Yeah,
the
I mean,
currency and
y-
the stamps and the
you
departed
lose
forward
track time, and
stuff.
we've talked about this before, but you lose track time and again that these are teenagers.
Yeah, these are
That,
teenagers.
so they're
yeah.
children.
Yeah, they're like
So,
in
yeah.
they're not
They're
even in
sick-
their senior year.
They're 15.
Yeah,
They can't even drive.
No,
Granted, I can't either, but I mean, like, regardless.
Yeah, but that's by choice. Theirs is not.
Yeah. At this point, it might be medical, but I don't know.
Don't you use that excuse? Because
So-
they have plans to drive.
Right.
For this, now that we're touching base on that the fact that they're high school, this film continues to play the high school field. And is it not the exact same kids from the math club?
Yeah.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
the mathletes or the
the blonde lady.
academic
Is it the same?
decathlon.
Yeah. Is
There
it?
you
It's
go.
the same kids, right?
It's the same core group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Even
they're
the
only
Flash,
missing, like one
Flash,
of them.
the quote unquote dumb like rich kid is still in there. And like he's a part of the science club. That's why like I don't think this is a club thing. I think this is like an academic like thing that they set this all up. Like these are the same 10 students that they have all the time. There is no one else.
It's just whoever had talking parts in the homecoming.
And the kid that's missing
brought
is
him
the
back.
black
They brought him
kid
back.
that kept ringing the bell and answering. And he kept having being told like stop using the bell as a comedic prop.
Yeah.
I did. How did you like these characters? Kids, not the entire movie, just these kids. How did you feel about it?
I think they did great, actually.
I mean, acting wise, yeah, they were great.
Flash and his Spider-Man obsession, that was funny.
Right?
Ned and the blonde lady on the airplane fling, fucking, I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
don't know why.
Betty Brant,
It's-
who's a comic book from the comics. I know. Just can't
Yeah?
remember what her character was,
Okay.
but she's actually
such-
like a named character in the comics.
nice.
It's such a 80s cliche thing for
That's
like
what I mean. It's a high school movie.
comedy thing.
Yeah.
What?
It's got such
who's,
an 80s style to it.
who's the fucking writer director? Homecoming. Kevin Foggy was trying to. Fuck! I can't. Wow! I should have brought it up.
Okay.
He was trying. He was trying to
What do
feel. He was trying to grasp that energy of this writer director from the '80s. Those rom-coms.
Oh, like John Hughes?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
Some fuck
and-
named John Hughes.
And that was a quote from Kevin Foggy that he was like, I wanted
Feige.
this movie to feel like that.
Kevin
And
Feige.
the Fudge. And then he I
Okay,
don't know.
so talking about Ned and Betty for a minute, the movie that came to my mind. Tim, did you ever see If Looks Could Kill
Yes.
with Richard Grieco? Where he's like he's a high school kid on like a fucking like summer trip to
Ooh.
Italy or France,
It's so bad.
and he gets confused with like a spot. Yeah, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
But
It sounds
the-
familiar, but
this movie and Far From Home have the same
Wow.
hallmarks.
Wow.
It's a
As that
deep
movie?
grab, but
that
like
sums up
Jason-
all my stammering. I was just trying to fucking
Jason can attest to it because he remembers the movie. So Tim, you got to look it up. But this,
all right.
If Looks Could Kill,
Yeah.
I think Richard Grieco, Gabrielle Anwar, and I don't remember the villain's name, but
Mm.
those guys has the same beats and the same like interactions are in that movie that are in Far From Home.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll have to check it out.
That's awesome because Mr. Hughes did a good job in his movies. And
I did not write
Homecoming,
If Looks Could Kill.
what?
Did not write If Looks Could Kill.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. And
Okay.
Homecoming was a Hughes type of movie, but this movie is a looks per kill type of movie.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why I'm like, I don't think these Homecoming and this one match up well when it comes
Well, they're
to
not the same writers.
hitting those
I was
marks.
gonna say, yeah, the writing is vastly different, but
Yeah.
Do you guys
yeah.
remember who wrote Homecoming?
the John Francis Daley and forgot the other one.
Jonathan Goldstein.
That's
Hmm.
it. Yeah.
Yep. This one
So,
was written
yeah.
by I don't know, Chris
Some guy.
McKenna and Eric Sommers. So
Right on.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
recognize either of those names. Not that
And
I'm big on
I
writers,
am
but
talking shit, but I do have some praise for like this movie's another introduction film. It's another Ant-Man, another Doctor Strange type of film, another Captain Marvel type of film. It's introducing future or these
I'm so glad you
conflicts.
said Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Something in the movie actually made me think of
So-
that, and I need to address that when we get to it.
So as long as they had as long as they had the next Spider-Man movie in mind when they wrote this one,
Yeah.
I'm fucking fully satisfied.
All,
but
all
it
the
was
films that they've been
it
coming
was
up with,
boring.
all the films that they've been coming up with for the past like 10 years
Yeah.
have been just it's just a push.
They're
And,
building.
The nets.
These are building block films.
I
Yeah.
do want to appreciate that though. I
Yeah.
love that foresight. I love the strategy, and I like
Yeah.
So if I gotta watch a boring movie to get a better movie in the future, like we did with the
Yeah, and
last Spider-Man,
I can agree with that.
I am
that same
fucking
concept.
down.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree with that. If I have to
Just-
watch a boring movie
Yeah.
to get a good movie,
filler.
yeah, I'll do
That's
it.
what- yeah,
That's why we
filler,
went through
yeah.
Ant-Man.
for sure.
It's just like
Twice.
watching it. It's
Twice.
like
Ant-Man
streaming
again.
it. It's like streaming or watching Lost or like any TV
Yeah.
series. There's, well, all right. My point
They're
is
on the island. They're off the island. I can't keep track.
Hey.
I don't even want to talk about Lost.
No. Back. My point. This movie's an introduction film and a filler.
Yeah, for sure.
Back to you, Tim.
So the fact that we are dealing with high school kids and we are dealing with an after effect of the blip,
I did like.
Yeah.
how did you like the way they incorporated the blip from the high school view, perception or perspective?
I thought the various calls to it through maybe not various calls, but like the calls to it in the movie were great. I thought the news story from the high school was a good way to sum up, kind of like quickly explain what happened.
Visual
Because you don't see what
explanation.
happens.
Yeah.
You don't see what happens after Bruce makes the snap in Endgame, which is what brings everybody back. So you get that from this movie, and that is a really
Yeah.
nice piece of exposition right at the beginning of the movie.
But we're
Yeah.
only seeing it
From the
high
high school.
school.
Right. You don't
But
get like
that's the fun part of it.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Okay.
asking. How did you
Because
like
of
that?
the
'Cause
5-year
Right.
difference.
You
and,
don't
like all of a
get the-
sudden. Yeah. Okay.
you don't get the
They really-
turmoil and stuff.
They really put some thought into that.
They
did.
did.
They left the meat of that problem
Mhm.
for later projects. Like
Yeah.
Yes,
Captain America
yeah.
Winter Soldier deals with it kind of heavily.
Yep.
So they left it
They-
for something for a more serious bend because
Yes.
this did not have that serious bend to it.
I was just gonna say they took the emotional attachment out of this one, out of the equation
Yeah.
for this one, and they just wrote it on a fun level. Just
Yeah.
oh, here
The-
it is.
the
Here's
best
what
part-
happened. A little awkward.
And I
The
think
best
it was
call-
a choice not to make this one too serious
I
and
think so
make it
too. Oh,
light.
definitely.
And I appreciate that as well. All right.
The best call to the blip is when they're first on the plane and Flash is
Yeah.
sitting in first class and he
And,
says something to Parker and MJ goes, "Hey, he was in the blip, so he's actually 17, not 22."
Yeah.
It sums up that mathematical equation that they
Yeah.
threw at
It
you in
was-
the intro of the movie.
Because yeah,
with
I
their-
really like the very intro where you got the two
Yeah.
two kids on their little
Yeah.
high school.
It was
news
Betty and
announcement.
whatever. It was
Yeah.
Betty and what some throwaway character.
I just like that they explained everything and they went through the whole like
yeah,
memorial.
the end- Yeah.
Iron
They,
Man,
they gave it a
all that.
visual moment too,
Yep.
like with the
and all of a sudden they're playing basketball.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, and the
And
band
it's
just shows back
other
up.
people, just other people just show up right on top of them.
That was the LOL moment. For
So what was funny to me was the fact that they blipped back with their instruments.
That's true. That is true.
Like, why did that happen?
Yeah.
they held on too tight.
So, I didn't know Thanos had wiped out all like 50% of like instruments in the world too.
Well, in fairness,
maybe it was only
everybody
particular
had
instruments
their
he
clothes
doesn't
and
like.
shit too. So
I mean,
Yeah.
close.
Fair
Yeah, I mean,
enough,
you
fair
gotta
enough.
give that because you can't have nude people showing back up,
Yeah.
especially in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
um
But yeah, I
Yeah,
caught
I just-
the
but yeah,
instruments
the-
like threw me off. I was like, what the fuck?
But yeah,
they
the
talk about
MJ.
they talk about that Asian kid too. It's
Yep.
like, oh, he was this kid, and then he shot up and he's tall and he's ripped.
Oh,
All the
the
girls want him.
love triangle
Yeah,
guy.
Brad.
Yep. Yeah.
The guy was like, oh yeah, my little brother was like younger than me, and then I came back, and all of a sudden now he's older than me.
But what I really liked about the
Fucked up.
MJ on the airplane moment when she made the 5-year difference with Flash, like she made a fucking hilarious joke, called him out, got him. He's a douchebag, got him in trouble,
Yeah.
and then also summed up like, just in case you were confused by the intro,
Yeah.
dialogue. this really fucking just hit it home.
It's a common occurrence.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
is what they're showing. Like these are things that like you need to explain at first.
He's not 21. He blipped.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, are we?
I suppose some of them have to be 16 or so because Flash has a car.
Yeah, but he only has his permit.
Is it only his permit? I just remember him driving his date in the first one. I just happen to remember.
He just had a driver's permit or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. So keeping with this high school concept, I'm gonna throw kind of a quirky little question out there. Thanks, bud. You made me something.
Nice.
Have you ever felt like when you were in high school, did you ever feel like you were trying to find your place, like most high schoolers, or like pretend to be better than you were for whatever? Part
of the process, or at least in our day.
I agree. At least I feel like to a point.
There's a point John Hughes writing.
But
I had my moments where I tried to fit in with other people that I probably didn't need to.
How did you feel about the kids in this? Particularly, how did you feel about Peter Parker and his escapade on trying to fit in?
Fit in? What do you mean? Peter Parker fitting in? He was not trying to fit in. He was obsessed with his emotion, his love, he was obsessed with his love for MJ. Like, what the fuck do you mean fit in? He wasn't trying to fit in with nobody.
No, I wouldn't say he's not trying to fit in, but he's trying to. He says it at one point. He says he needs this vacation.
Oh,
like he needs to step back. He wants to be
that side of it.
He wants to be normal, even though he can't be. He wants to be.
It had to be with his high school kids. He's fit in.
He's just trying to fit as a person as opposed to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So he's stretched too thin.
He's using this MJ love attachment as like, I want to take this time to be a real kid. And like, instead of being a big time Thor superhero. So I see what you're saying.
It's something for him to focus on aside from being Spider-Man, because that's all he is. It's like he goes to school, he's Spider-Man. He goes home, he's focused. Spider-Man.
He's so focused and distracted by it that he doesn't even fucking have his Peter-Tingles anymore. It's fucking...
Yeah, but I mean, at 15, like, you can't... at 15, and you found a girl you liked.
I didn't even think about that, obviously.
When you're 15 and you decide to like a girl, like, your emotions, your hormones are fucking whacked out.
His hormones are all over the place.
Bodies are changing.
Yep.
Male pregnancy.
And that is... That's why I liked how they did that. I liked how they showed that he's going through hormones, that he's going through puberty and all that stuff, just by saying his Peter-Tingle is not working. I thought that was kind of clever.
I didn't fucking think about that, but now that you guys say it, that is, I'm the dummy.
I mean, he plays a lot of it as like the angsty, not even angsty, but like he's just the classic like lovelorn teenager. He's playing John Cusack in a lot of his early work. Is really what he's doing.
I'm not gonna lie, that's exactly what goes through my head when I think about these films. He's basically
Better Off Dead
Cusack.
And like you know, stuff like that.
You're
like
right.
He's really doing John Cusack.
Cusack is so much better. So I didn't.
Well, it's because John Cusack was in the 80s.
Yeah, he was.
Like, so he played it right for that time period. Now they're doing a different movie, but they're trying to get that same feel, and it's not working right.
Or too much time has passed for it to work right.
Yep, I feel like Tom Holland is just the John Cusack.
Wow.
Of these films, it's exactly how I felt too, which is why I think it works for me with that whole 80s cliche, 90s cliche stuff is John Hughes style. Because I just think of the John Cusack romance comedy films. A little bit like, was it One Crazy Summer?
One Crazy Summer?
And Better Off Dead. Those are probably the two that really stick out because they're the comedy romance stuff. They're not taken so serious.
And that obsession.
A little bit of Say Anything, but I mean, not quite as much. Not quite as much.
That movie.
But yeah, so like Peter Parker is he's still trying to find himself and make a balance for himself between being a superhero, being in a...
and that's why he's far from home.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean,
Fuck
Yeah.
that traveling shit. That's superficial surface shit. So
He's having
I was redundant there.
an identity crisis because of expectations that's being held against him.
And loss of his mentor.
And he's still young, so he's not
Mhm.
even he hasn't
Oh,
figured
yeah.
out who he is yet. So
Is.
for all this weight that he's getting an expectation upon himself, which a lot of it is on himself. He's doing it to himself.
Yeah,
But in
every-
fairness,
like,
it is what
him
it is kind of appropriate because what else does he think he needs to do?
and him dodging Nick Fury's calls
ballsy is
proves that he doesn't feel that he's ready to step up on that, pedestal or that.
to be an Avenger leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said it a couple times. He's like, don't you want to like call us a big superhero or like,
Yeah.
like I'm just a little guy.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm like your neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
So, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But he
Yeah, I
hasn't,
mean,
and
I
that's
was
what I
gonna
was
say-
saying. Like his identity,
Ooh.
he hasn't discovered his identity yet, but he's having an
No.
identity crisis,
Yes.
and it's because of other people, not
Mhm.
himself.
he's doing the classic teenager thing, which is he's worried about how others perceive him.
Mm-hmm.
How Tony perceives it, how Nick, how the public, how Happy and Aunt May perceive him, how MJ perceives him. Like he's concerned with how everyone else sees him and trying to
Yeah.
hold up to their standards. He doesn't know how to be himself.
He
Yeah.
hasn't figured out the subtle art of how not to give a fuck.
You guys are making this movie so much better for me. But like
It's got its nuances. I'm not
During-
saying it's the
does.
best, but it's got
During-
nuances.
during the watch, it's just like kind of like boring and kind of whatever, and it tries. But listening to you guys talk about like
Well-
this far from home meaning, it fucking it works. I see what they did there. But
To kind of elaborate and emphasize a little bit more on what we're talking about is Peter
Mhm.
has that discussion with Mysterio, with
Yeah.
Quentin, about
On
don't you
the
just want
roof?
to kind of be normal and like
Yeah.
give up all his responsibilities and this and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, he just wants to be a regular kid. And-
Beck asked him, he's like, what do you want right now? He's like, I want to
Yeah.
go on my field trip. Like, I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah,
Like, he wants what any kid would want.
yeah.
And I've seen numerous things
Yeah.
lately. Like,
and I got that.
there are so many ways that you forget that Peter's 15
Yeah.
because
It's
of all the
really
things he's been
easy to
involved in. He's a
forget, yeah.
child.
He's a child.
It's the
And
same
this is
concept
something-
as
But this is something I like about this is Quentin keeps calling him a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps calling him a kid.
Mhm.
Every
Yeah.
time they
definitely.
talk or every time he mentions him, it's a kid. So they're
even to
like,
Nick Fury, he defends him like, because he's a kid. You
Yeah.
kidnapped him.
yeah. So like, yeah, like what you're saying. Well, yeah, he's just a fucking kid.
Mhm.
But we're expecting him to be an adult because he's been in a big boy world. He's done
Yeah.
big boy things.
Nick Fury even
Yeah.
says it like when he's like, I'm not an Avenger, like I'm just your neighborhood Spider-Man. And he's like, bitch, please, you've been to space.
Oh, I'm so happy you just said that. Yes. Bitch, please, you've been to space.
I liked that.
That's like my favorite line of the movie. Like,
I agree.
fucking-
Bitch,
after
please,
what
you've
they
been
did
space.
to-
Yeah, by accident.
After what they did to Fury and Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
it was nice to see Fury returning to form.
Yeah.
Well, in a
Um,
sense,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Pardon me.
Bitch,
Uh,
please.
So stopping on Fury for just a second. This is the thing I wanted to bring up. When he's saying like, don't you want like a big hero like Thor or
Yeah.
so and so, and then he says Captain Marvel, and Fury goes, "Don't you dare invoke her name." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" Like
Mm.
I-
Say that name in vain. Is what-
he says, "Don't you dare invoke her name" or something like that. I'm like, okay, first of all, she's not dead.
Yeah. I don't.
Secondly,
I don't get it.
Calm the
either.
fuck down. He's 15. He's trying to tell you I'm not ready for this, and then he gets mad when he's like, "Apparently, you're not ready for this." Like, okay,
Is
slow
this,
down.
is this flaw supposed to match the post credit scene?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
We get a hint about all that later on. So
They're
it
hints.
kind of
Post-credit
answered up a
scene.
lot.
Oh
Yeah.
no, did I miss a
Oh.
post credit scene?
Yeah.
Shit.
There's.
Let's just skip it.
Yeah.
We'll
Damn
talk
it.
about it a
Alright,
little
cool,
bit later. So
cool.
When I saw the post credit scene, I apparently didn't watch the post credit scene.
But before
Fuck.
we get, I want to say one thing about Martin Starr. Fucking the only time I laughed out loud or smiled the most, every time he was on the screen, he was
Him
great. but my favorite part, him on the airplane. So I want to tell you about my
The
wife,
perfume.
like her faking the blip, or she pretended to. we had a fake funeral and the funeral was real. But like I don't know, this
Him and
that
JB
shit
Smoove are
yeah.
him and JB Smoove are great comedic relief,
Yes.
especially like when he's like, "What do you think it is?" It's like, as a science teacher, I'm gonna say witches.
Witches.
JB Smoove was great for that. I don't know why. I thought he was hilarious.
I'm gonna tell you one thing on this science trip. There's been science.
Yeah. He could have JB Smoove could have been there more for sure, but Martin Starr just really just nailed it because they tried a lot on either the charming aspect or to get you to laugh out loud of the comedy, and it didn't really work unless Martin Starr or JB Smoove were in the scene. Like
because they were the comedic relief.
Yeah, but they tried so many other times and with other characters, and it just I didn't laugh at the other sarcastic tones they were taking.
I'm not even sure that those were supposed to be comedic beats. I think those were just supposed to be like regular high school shenanigans.
That's why
I think it depends on what you're talking about.
It was supposed to be more like charming or like instead of like comedy.
I think it's that basic, tropish, like these are how high schoolers act. Like they're dicks, like or they do this and this and this. I don't think those are necessarily comedic beats. I think Martin Starr and JB Smoove are supposed to be your comedic relief and what you're doing for comedic moves.
At least for us, worked because we're
oh, fair enough.
And up.
Yeah, I'm not in high school. Yeah, I'm 20 years.
We're only removed. Like 5 or 6 years difference between Martin Starr. So he's like I really did love when he 46 or something like that. So like
pokes his
he's
head
not that far from us.
I loved when he poked his head into their room after Furious there, and he's like, "I was just here to offer any grief support."
Oh my god!
It's like, "Oh no, we're fine." It's like, "Oh, that's good because I'm not qualified to do any of that."
I actually loved that when Nick Fury was in that. I love that entire scene. He walks in and all of a sudden he shoots Ned. He just falls.
You shot Ned.
Yeah,
just a mild tranquilizer. But I love that because it's like one more person who touches that door.
Just something about another funeral.
And help me out with that. At the final line dialogue of that scene was, if one more person knocks on that door, we're gonna have to attend another funeral. Yeah. Who the fuck is gonna kill? Like the next person that knocks on the door? I don't know. I thought it was too much. That was
exactly his point. He's basically saying, "Stop interrupting me."
Fucking, I guess it's not really Nick Fury.
That's why he's like, suit up.
And it's a nuisance.
So,
yeah. So, did you particularly have like a favorite character that you were following? Did you like Flash or did you like Martin? I'm sure it's Martin Starr for Jason.
For me, yes. Thank you.
Honestly, like I really enjoyed once Happy became like a bigger part of the picture.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like when he comes in, like especially the emotional spots, and then like him trying to save MJ and Flash and Ned. And like they're making the confession. He's like, I'm in love with it. Spider-Man's aunt, but I thought we were sharing. I really love that. I don't know why. I think I loved seeing Happy connecting with Peter on that level, especially after watching the funeral scene in Endgame. And you see how much that he's hit because Tony and him were so close, and he knows how close Tony and Peter were.
Right.
You get that blip of emotion that I think for me, that was actually probably the most emotional part of this movie.
Yeah.
And then to see them like connecting in that way, like,
and
then the comedic beats with him and MJ and the other kids, like I enjoyed Happy being part of the movie.
I enjoyed Happy's blip beard. I'm so happy it's a small moment, but I really like that.
It is a really nice
you're all
moment.
Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, your camera's going out of focus, bro.
Who's that?
You're starting to like get hazy.
You're fuzzy. You're out of
that's
focus.
just how I feel.
This is what we see. So out of the I don't know. I honestly have to say I was following Quentin. I was following Mysterio.
Really?
Out of everybody.
I get that. He's a compelling character.
And that's exactly what it was. It was a very compelling character. There was a lot of in-depthness, even though when you figure everything out and stuff like that, like there's a lot of levels to that whole team that
Yeah.
if you sit there and thought about it,
that part of it is
it's
awesome.
impressive.
That part of it is awesome as fuck. Yeah.
His team is very, very like they're very capable people, very smart people. What I think is interesting is that he basically plays to their hubris.
Yeah.
To get them on board. He plays to their egos to get them on board.
But it seems like
which is kind of what makes them the villain, I guess. But
it seems like it's years in the making because this is a team of disgruntled employees of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And that reveal was predictable even when I saw it in the theater. Like I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know what, but I loved it when he stood on the bar and gave that speech and like called out these particular people.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that they were disgruntled. It was just Tony, because they didn't really do anything.
Disenfranchised, I believe, is probably the right word to go with.
They didn't do anything to deserve what they
Tony
got.
Because
they hate it. That doesn't make them disgruntled. They didn't deserve to be fired. They were fired because they didn't serve a purpose to Tony's whatever he wanted to do.
All right, I'm fired because I don't know the meaning of the word disgruntled. All right,
it's like when
that indicates that they did something wrong or disruptive to be fired for, and they really didn't do that.
I thought they were just unhappy.
Usually disgruntled workers are usually like ones that have a problem, like an overarching problem with everything. Like, yeah. I think I see where you're going, but I mean, I also
fair enough. So back to your guys' point, that's more important is these motherfuckers are talented people that really helped improve the technology of Tony Stark throughout his arc, and before,
well, no, they gave him the baseline.
Got fired for petty reasons or whatever it was. So that's. Because it kind of reminded me of the fucking Iron Man 3 villain where he was mad about.
What?
You're talking about the Mandarin?
Yes.
Guy Pearce?
Yeah. So you guys know?
I think what these people had done
with the first Iron Man than there are.
What these people had done is they had basically created something, and then Tony took what he liked about each project and used the pieces and threw everything else away, and then just discontinued them. And that was the problem, was that basically he basically pulled all the pieces he wanted from their stuff, used it under the guise of his stuff,
use them and lose them. Yeah.
And that was the big issue with them. It's not that like they had it's not like,
thanks.
Yeah,
I'm with you now.
So they gave the baseline to a lot of his accomplishments, and they didn't get any credit for it.
Yeah,
and that's why I was more captivated with his character, because they're doing what they're doing not to harm anybody necessarily. Not there wasn't an evil intent. It was about justifying themselves
to be heard, recognized.
Recognized. That's exactly it. They were just they were creating a place for them to be recognized.
Yeah,
because when during that reveal at the bar, when he says they're not gonna fucking call on Nick Fury, or they're not gonna call on this, and they're not gonna call on some bougie kid or whatever the fuck. They're gonna call on us, the people that deserve it. And that's I botched it a little bit, but
he wanted to be the next Avenger.
So yeah.
There's no more Avengers.
This Earth's mightiest hero.
Yep. When did you, especially you, Jason, when did you find out that he was the villain? Did you figure it out beforehand, before it was revealed?
See, I knew it. Like I knew he was up to he was up to something when I saw it in the theaters. But like I said, when the bar scene, the reveal happened and the holograms dissipated, I was like, oh my God, like it was jaw dropping. It was very entertaining. It was not what I couldn't have wrote it myself. So I was very entertained and by that moment. But I knew he was up to no good on that roof, that conversation, like I don't know. He just seemed. I
Just
don't know.
he didn't sit right with you.
Thank you.
What about you, Aaron?
I mean, because I knew he was Mysterio, I knew Mysterio was a Spider-Man villain.
I know nothing about Mysterio. Yeah.
I will say that I didn't see the way
comics.
he was revealed and the way he was set up. I didn't see that coming. Like the team having it all be because of this, I didn't see any of that coming.
Yeah.
I just knew that somewhere along the way he's the villain.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have like a vague knowledge of Spider-Man. I didn't get too much into it when I was a kid, so I mean, I know.
Well, if you were just
surface
to take
material.
the comics knowledge away, I mean, of course he's the villain. Just simple storytelling shows that he's going to be the villain. But the point,
I definitely know that once
if you were able to take it together prior, was there something that indicated
when he has Quentin try on the Edith glasses?
Yeah.
I definitely right when they had him looking like Tony Stark, I was like, that can't be good.
Yeah.
No, and it wasn't.
Right. So I mean, that was probably the tell for me, was like that them having Peter having the crisis of like, oh, for the next Tony Stark, I trust you.
Yeah.
Like, and then like him giving us like,
because
I can't see that being good.
It just felt like Bubble Boy was trying to take advantage of Peter's insecurities and like shit.
Because he was.
Yeah, it was. It was very obvious in that moment. Yeah. And they didn't really waste time in this movie. Like they didn't try to surprise you with any kind of wow factor at all in this movie.
Really. And I think this is where you can kind of get away with saying it's a filler, like you were saying, Jason.
Yeah.
It's a borderline filler. It had purpose. It had a direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of. It's definitely an in between film. So it wasn't.
It's just kind of like, okay, all right, here we go.
You
guys like the elementals?
No,
I didn't either, and they were just clumsy or clutter. Like, what do you guys think? Like,
they were just.
We already have Sandman, right?
Yeah,
and that's all we needed.
And he looks way better than these fuckers. But,
Sandman was better, so
they were just haphazard.
I like that.
I think that the idea, one of the things I really liked about this film was they brought in the 616. Now, I had talked to you about that universe in the multiverse. So they introduced, this is the first time.
This is fake ass shit though, right? Oh, sorry.
It is fake, but it's real.
Okay.
So he is fake, but he's touching base on real.
So the guy that wrote the story, one of the crew, one of Mysterio's crew members, the story writer, he just accidentally stumbled upon this number.
He just made it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a real thing that we learn later. But this is the first time that we touch base with the multiverse.
And this is why I say this is one of the reasons I say it's an introduction film. It's introducing the multiverse. Even though it's not real, it's still getting us as the audience, our minds wrapped around it.
Yes. The idea of a multiverse.
At a slow pace. Yes.
That's actually very well thought. Yeah. The 616 is, like I said, that is Earth's tag. That's the area code in the multiverse. And he said he's like from 833. I believe in Doctor Strange, we actually might we might go through that dimension.
Probably.
So
it wouldn't surprise me.
And that's what I really liked about this film was it's fake. It's pure happenstance.
Yeah, he's talking complete bullshit, but it happens to become real later on.
It happened to be real. So
right, yeah.
How do you like the character Quentin Beck? What do you think about Jake Gyllenhaal playing Quentin? Well, actually, I want to know both. How do you like the character, and how do you feel about Jake Gyllenhaal's performance?
Aaron, go. I gotta go.
I really enjoyed Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Quentin Beck. I thought he did really well. He's
very charismatic.
It
really helps.
I will say
he's easy on the eyes. He's a good actor. Whatever.
Yeah,
he has dynamic.
Even when he has to become a little over the top when he's yelling at the the guy that's doing the projectors and stuff like that,
Oh,
when
yeah,
he's yelling at
yeah.
him, he's even believable then, because especially when he does that turn of, and this is one thing I liked about Quentin Beck, because he's not that much of a bad guy until this exact moment when he says, when I have to kill Peter Parker and these other kids, their
This is
blood is
on
on
you."
your hands.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part where you go, oh no, he's a real bad guy.
Yeah. He'll
And
do
like,
whatever
and
it
you
takes.
don't really get it until that exact point. You get that he's a bad guy, but he's not like like an arch villain type bad guy.
Mhm.
Like he's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah, I do. And I agree with that. That was that moment where you see his intentions are
Mhm.
pure. Like, or not, I don't want to say pure. Like, you see his pure intentions of like how far
Yeah.
he'll go to get what he wants.
yeah, he
to
has,
achieve his
there's
goals.
no like sideways to it. It's a direct path. He will not let anything step in his way.
But he's not
like-
maniacal.
No, he's egotistical, but I mean, he's not
He's-
maniacal.
He's not maniacal. He's very suave.
He's had,
Like,
had
he's
enough.
And he's actually
charismatic.
very based in reality. Like he's not
For
under
somebody
delusions
who's
of
full of illusions, yes.
right. He's very based in reality. Like, he's not under delusions of grandeur. Like he just knows that like to get recognition, this is how we have to do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like this is his
Absolutely,
plan. This is his
absolutely.
goal.
I
This
thought
is
the
how we
same
do
thing.
it.
I was feeling that same, and this once again, this is why I followed this character, because he's got so many layers. It
Mhm.
was a very, very well done character.
He was.
Especially if you just want to sit there and analyze it.
Mhm.
I love that he had a team too. That it's not just him. You
Yeah,
can't
I
that
thought that was a
helps a
very
lot.
interesting trade
Yeah.
to thing to do. Not trade,
Mhm.
thing to do for his character, to make it a team instead of just him.
Yeah.
Because
They're all evil.
it makes him humane. It makes him human because he has to rely on
Like
other
pure
people
human.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
super powered
He's a
or anything
work-
like that. He's using technology. He's doing what Tony Stark does, but he needs a team to do it instead of
Yeah.
being Tony Stark and having everything at his fingertips.
Yeah.
Right.
They're above average and like above average
Mhm.
intelligence, but they're not brilliant. They're not
Yeah, they're
geniuses.
geniuses. They're not brilliant.
But
Or
they're
That's
groundbreaking
Take that and
whatever.
reverse it.
field.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They're best in their field. Yes. It's not
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
One of the things that I did have to kind of separate was Mysterio in the comics. Now I'm okay with the way they did this character.
Yeah.
I really agree with you, Aram. I like Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as this
Yeah.
character.
I agree too, because I was pissing while you said that.
But I think that my issue really comes down to the character itself.
Mm.
So Spider-Man in the Spider-Man comics, Mysterio is an illusionist. He's a magician.
Yeah.
He was one of the best top-notch magicians out there. So he was an entertainer. In this, he was a tech guy who created a mind-blowing holographic,
Mhm.
you know,
Simulator or
thing,
whatever.
simulator. Yeah. So I see where it works, and I accept how they did it.
Yeah. Tony
But
Stark's
did it s-
replacement. Yeah.
it just didn't feel true to the way the
No.
character should have been.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like I'm balancing, and this is where I can separate the
I think you
character.
already
I can
see it.
separate it.
You already
It's
said
just-
it all.
Yeah.
You
it's
see
just-
why they made that choice. And
and
with
I
all
think
the
I'm forced
tech
to just
going
accept
on-
it.
yeah.
I think that's the issue. I was excited to see this character when I saw the trailer and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, Mysterio? Okay.
Fuck.
How are they going to bring him in? And then I see how they brought it in. I'm like, oh.
But there's
okay.
no way to like make the story comparing
As
to,
an illusionist. Yeah.
to Tony Stark and all this tech that like
Yeah.
they've been introducing since Homecoming and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If they brought it back to a magician, like that would be resetting in a way. So
But
I
now
get why.
saying this, he has nothing but an entertainer, an actor
Yes,
mentality.
he has
And
that.
Oh yeah.
He does it so fucking good. So
He-
the
yeah,
fact that his character still perceived as that hubris,
Mhm.
attention on
He was
me
putting on a
mentality,
performance. Yeah.
Yeah, the performance guy. perfect. It worked out. Like,
Mhm.
so there's a sense of balance that they
melded the best
Yeah,
they could.
That's where,
Yeah,
I like that. They melded it together.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
accept it.
It's
Accept
something
it
to
really
think
well.
about, but at the end of the thought, it's the right choice
Mhm.
for the
Exactly.
MCU arc.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's one thing, like you said earlier, Jason, the foreshadowing that you get from everything. It's
Yeah, it's
incredible.
a setup. Yeah, introduction.
And
yeah.
so they really think this shit through. They really tie
They're
it.
re-
They're
yeah,
really, really, really concerned about somebody boasting on the internet that they found a plot point or a plot hole or something.
yeah.
So like they want to make sure it's sealed and tight. So
For sure.
how did you like the illusions? How did you like the world and that they brought to the illusions? When they were trapping Spider-Man and he's getting all beat up and shit.
Oh,
Wait, hold on. We don't want to skip there. Do we want to go to like the MJ and Peter Parker reveal or the exposure, the outing?
we didn't get there yet.
What?
Wait,
He just jumped ahead to the fucking illusion gauntlet.
Yeah, because
No.
I'm talking about Mysterio.
That
Why would I
happens
stray away
after.
just to come back about so?
We're not going chronologically. We're talking about
we haven't
facets
been
of the
going
movie.
chronologically.
All right, fair
at all.
enough. That's one of my favorite sequences. Is that fucking illusion gauntlet when he gets hit by the train at the end and everything
Yep.
he goes through before
So
that.
you really like that whole
I
sequence?
thought it looked cool. Zombie Iron Man
God,
in
that
the
was a good
graveyard.
touch.
That
It's
was
intense.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
the zombie Iron Man was a good touch to that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
And-
one thing, I don't know. When I saw this the first time, I wasn't a big fan of the film. I thought it was okay,
Right.
but
Me too.
it didn't grasp me. And then watching it again, I have to agree with you, Ariam. I think the first section of it,
Yeah.
the first act, it was whatever.
Mhm.
It was. I kind of find myself
It
wanting
was-
to go to my phone or something, but
Yeah, when the Edith classes are introduced, that really starts the movie's uptick. And then
Yeah.
once it's revealed that Mysterio is a villain, that's when shit really gets
and that's
interesting.
where they grasped me was at the bar
Mhm.
scene. That
Yeah.
whole scene, I was like, oh,
Yes.
okay. And then I was on from there.
That's when I was
paid
locked and
attention.
loaded because everything before that it was it felt like you guys said it felt like a John Cusack
Yeah.
moment that a movie
Yup.
that I've already seen before. So
Yup,
I
absolutely.
wasn't connected.
So
Right.
like when you get this illusions,
Mhm.
I don't know. I was so blown away.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I really thought the graphics were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that they used the illusions in this film to fuck with Spider-Man
Yeah.
was brilliant. It was just a
Right.
nonstop.
It was
thing.
a very unique action moment in a
Yep.
movie, and especially a comic book movie. Yeah.
Agreed.
And I thought that they did a great justice for comparing to the comics.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Mysterio fucks with everybody through illusions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He entraps them in illusions and they don't know. They basically go crazy. They don't know what the fuck's going on. So,
Genjitsu Naruto.
ninja. And that's where I thought this was great. I thought this was great.
Yeah. My favorite scene in the whole film is that sequence. Yeah.
How did you feel about him getting hit by the train?
It was a surprise.
It was
Like,
impactful.
Well played.
So far, every Spider-Man has
Right?
had them with a train.
Yep.
Yes, so far. Yes.
Yep.
Always I was gonna yes. What's with Spider-Man and trains?
I don't know. Maybe it's a New York thing.
Oh,
Maybe
Probably,
it's
yeah.
supposed to signify a New
Yeah.
York thing, always
Yeah.
taking the subway or something.
I
don't
think
know.
you're right on that.
The A
That's-
train or
That's true.
A
As a
track, I don't know.
Minnesotan, I don't know shit about
we don't know
trains.
shit about that.
Right.
We know about snowplows. That's what we know.
Yeah, Spider-Man
then-
get hit by a snowplow. We'll get into it.
But yeah, he gets
Yeah,
hit
right.
by the train, then fucking he's hurting bad. And then
Right, get hit by a
Happy's
train.
but Happy's sewing him up is like Happy's like, what the fuck? I thought you had super strength. He's like, yeah,
still
but
hurts.
it still hurts.
Now, how'd you like when he wakes up
He wakes up in the jail and
Oh.
what was the Czech Republic?
That was a
The
smiling
Netherlands.
moment.
They're in the
Or
Netherlands.
the Netherlands. That's what it was. Not the Czech Republic.
And it was also kind of like confusing, like how he probably felt as the character in that moment. We were just kind of like, what the fuck is going on right now? Type of, you know, and I think
That's how
they
he
portrayed that feeling for the audience and that character at the same time. It was
we
kind
gave
of
you a
cool.
shirt because we thought you were cold.
Yeah.
You seem
Thanks.
cold.
They're
guys are
just
super
overly nice.
Welcome
Where
to
am
the
I?
Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Yeah.
I love when he goes out of the jail, like after he escapes and he walks out and he goes, "Hey, where are you know? Can I use your phone?" He just like I just like hands him his phone.
Yeah.
Everybody's so nice here.
Yeah. He just walks out, sees the guy, Night Monkey.
Oh, the
Yeah,
guy
he's
wearing
wearing the
the
mask.
fucking costume, or
And
at
the
least the
guys-
mask.
It breaks it open, and
Yeah.
the guys, oh, you guys doing okay in there? They just shut the door,
That's it.
lock it. It's the Netherlands. I like that.
Fucking
All right,
Canada.
Jason, let's talk about the MJ romance.
All right. So because we spent the first hour of this movie fucking building up this, like it felt like love is such a powerful feeling that it's so distracting that it fucking no longer allows him to have Peter-Tingles. He's losing his thing, and you help me out with that. He's got other things on his mind. But he's like so obsessed and like young and in love. He finally gets his moment. And one of the first fucking dialogues in this movie is
Peter,
his plan
his plan. Yep.
when to Ned what he's gonna do to, or you know,
His plan to take her to the top of the
Eiffel
Eiffel
Tower.
Tower, give her
Thank
the
you.
Black Dahlia.
Anyway, I was
necklace.
gonna say it was gonna sound way dirtier than Aaron just said it, so thank you. And then then fucking I know, right? And then
And Ned's like, "Hey, I got a great idea. Don't do
and
any of that."
Yeah.
he finally
Like,
goes
Plan
to-
D. Plan D.
he fi-
Yeah,
he
don't
finally-
do any of that.
he finally gets through all this love triangle shit with the fucking pretty boy, and he finally gets his moment
name
with
is Brad?
MJ. I don't
Brad.
fucking care. He's 5 years too old. But yeah, I think it's Brad.
I think
like
that's
that.
some bullshit that because of the blip that they have to
Yeah.
continue where they
That-
left off.
And they
finish-
sold
Oh no,
that
they had to
shit.
restart
Bullshit.
that year.
Yep. That's
And-
bullshit.
That
Yeah.
dude's character and the way they sold that point was well told, actually. I agree. It was bullshit. So that was a very inventive or innovative way to like introduce a love triangle, like angle
Yeah.
to that triangle. But yeah, Peter Parker and MJ finally get their moment. They're awkward as fuck, and they obviously like each other.
But
then
then
they
about
end
the
up-
bridge.
Then we end up on the bridge. You know, the hotel. The fucking yeah, we end up on the bridge.
Yep.
And right before everything's Peter's about to get what he wants, the kiss, the confession, the necklace, any of that, it gets interrupted by MJ saying you're
Spider-Man.
and I love the interruption. I really enjoyed that moment.
Once
And
again,
how
it's like we're watching a John Cusack film.
yeah.
Yeah, because
But-
this is the trope of high school romances, that there's always that miscommunication
Yeah.
or the fear
That
of giving
awkwardness.
your true feelings because you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Whoa.
MJ does. She says, he's like, because he asked, he's like, "Is that the
Yeah.
only reason you're watching me? Because you thought I was Spider-Man?" He's like, "Yeah, why else would I watch you?"
Yeah. Well,
and so
yeah.
like it's on both their parts. He's worried that she only is interested because he's Spider-Man,
Mhm.
and she's worried about getting hurt. So she says, "Well, yeah, why else would I?"
that
watch
was
you?
a nice touch to the resolution on that awkwardness. But
I
yeah,
will say that I think that they're a great couple. I like them. I think that
Mhm.
they'd be cute together. Whatever.
Yeah.
It worked for me, but a big part of me just goes, "What the fuck?"
no, I don't care either. I don't care about them hooking up. But it just they put so much investment into like Peter and MJ in the first hour of the movie. And then when this bridge moment happened, it got interrupted by "Are you Spider-Man?" And then it got interrupted by "Look what I have in my backpack." And then like we get to the third act introduction. And
Yeah.
like that becomes more important than this love interest. That's what I liked about it. They interrupted that shit. They fucked with the love story in a good way, I thought.
There's the misdirection.
Yeah,
It's a great way for Peter to have the what I guess would be called the come to Jesus moment. where like he decides he has to step up and
this
be
is where
Spider-Man.
this is where he gets the spider senses back. Yeah.
No, this is just legit.
Well, not where, but this is the moment.
This is the moment where he starts to, because this is the moment where he goes, okay, I've got to do something because no one else can.
Yeah, he
figures out that Beck is a villain.
Yeah, because he had to mentally man up right here.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a great like misdirect, and it was very much a come to Jesus moment for
but
Peter.
The only reason why I fucking care to mention is because they spent so much time on that fucking love interest, and the way to fuck with the conclusion in the middle of the movie like that was great.
Now, to piggyback on that, I love the direction that they went with that. I really did.
Yeah.
One of the things about this film that I have an appreciation for is the direction that they took. I didn't necessarily say that everything that they did was good, or
it's not fully entertaining, but the way the trajectory they were going, I fucking completely agree.
And one of the things that we all know is this: Peter Parker is in love with MJ. We get that from everything that we've ever seen.
He loves Michael Jordan.
The way that they did this particular love interest is very appropriate.
Yeah,
because they had fun with it. They're kids.
Yeah.
They remember that they're 15,
and they remembered that we've already seen this story for fucking 30 years. So they had fun with it. That's why I'm trying to fucking say I like the interruption. Yeah,
they had fun, but they didn't linger. And I agree with you, Jason. I think that they did a good job. And
they teetered on lingering in the beginning, but yeah, the way they fucked with it on the bridge.
If Zendaya didn't have the MJ mentality that she had, that weird edgy.
She's a great MJ. She's my favorite.
Yeah. Like I really liked her serious edginess.
I love her sarcasm. Her fucking.
She's very terse.
Dry?
She's just very.
Is it dry humor? Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, dry.
I do like when she says, "I just have a whatever." During when they're opening up, is like, "I just got to tell the truth all the time." So.
Oh yeah.
Even though if it hurts somebody.
Yeah. I
do like this MJ. I think it's pretty fucking good.
It's definitely a far cry from Kirsten Dunst.
Do you guys remember the word? Her word she uses, the perfect word she found in Italy, bo. I like that dialogue, like how they explained it, how she used it, how he made a callback.
Peter used it on her.
Yeah, that was. I really had a good time with that dialogue. That was great, and it was because of her delivery and everything we just said.
They have wonderful chemistry, and as far as I know, they're still dating. In
I don't
life.
care. I don't.
Yeah. They're like 25 or 26. He's enamored with her.
Yeah, apparently. He's very much like in puppy love, at least with her.
I know. Good for them.
Hmm? Yeah, maybe she's that cool in person. She's a great actress, so I
think that's just a call to why they have such good chemistry, is that they developed the relationship outside as well. Like I think that natural chemistry flows through.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
That's always been proven.
What were the end credit scenes?
Are we just gonna skip the fucking the third act?
Go into detail about the third act. Really,
the final battle is it's all an illusion. Spider-Man breaks through it, and that's that. And then you're right.
Importance behind this third act battle, because there really was nothing. The only importance is the end credit scene. That's the only importance, which is why I want to talk about the end credit
hopefully the second end credit scene.
The one thing I was going to mention before we get that far. So when Peter's on the plane with Happy and he starts to design his suit, I actually read this fact today.
I like that.
When he starts using the machine to design his suit, the motions he's using, he went back to Iron Man 1 and studied Tony's movements.
Is that why Happy looks at him that way?
Exactly. That's why Happy gives him that look, because he's moving just like
Tony
did.
That gives me chills right now for some reason.
That was a Tom Holland thing that he did himself.
Like I said, just a couple minutes ago, there's a lot of parallels to Iron Man 1 in this film.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels. I don't want to go through them because that's like a whole other discussion. But I was noticing
that's another day.
Fucking sorts of things.
This movie doesn't deserve that long of an episode from us. But
But yeah, we can skip to the end credit scene now.
Yeah,
but I wanted to hit at that for a moment.
Thank you for that.
How
that
did
totally
you like
gives
the
me
Led Zeppelin
chills.
song?
That was also a nod.
That was a nice. That was funny. Oh, I love Led Zeppelin.
Is it?
It was an AC/DC song.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah,
It was the same from Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah, it was the same
one
from
that they
Iron
did
Man, but it was
Yeah.
also the nod to the fact that he
Yeah.
doesn't get like older pop culture references. So he's like, oh, I love Led
I
Zeppelin.
felt like he was wrong, but I'm not well versed in
Yeah,
band names
that
and song names.
That was AC/DC. That was Back in Black, I
AC/DC
believe.
Back in Black.
Yeah,
And he's I love Led Zeppelin.
but it was just such an
It like hurts just to
Right.
hear somebody say that. Not even close. But yeah, the end credits.
but yeah,
Oh, but by the way, in the plane, when they're in the plane going to Europe, right? And he's like looking at the films. And did you read the films? Like when he's sitting next to Martin Starr, and they're like, "Oh, you have a dual jack."
Dual head jack.
that plane.
Yeah. Did you check out the movies
No.
he was looking at? I had to take a picture of it because I thought it was kind of interesting. Give me a second while I pull this up. So when he's getting ready to check out a film, you see like a streaming device of some sort.
The Tony
And
Stark documentary.
yeah, just before he pops up with that one,
Okay.
you actually see a film called The Snap, and it's just a gauntlet and
Oh
silhouette.
wow.
Interesting.
You see Finding Wakanda, and
Oh,
it's just like a mystical city in the background. Hunting Hydra, and
Wow.
it's basically them trying to find all the Hydra people. And then you have Nova. You had Eric from Thor. What's his name?
Eric.
Yeah, the scientist. It's the Skarsgård.
oh,
Selvig.
Selvig. So you have Eric Selvig, and it's called with his arms scientist fold, and it's Nova Einstein Rosenbridge. And then it goes into the Tony Stark documentary.
that's awesome because that's the way the real world would work when it comes
Yes,
to
and that's-
movies and like reacting to
Yeah.
life traumas
It's
or
just
real
such a-
world traumas.
A blip of a scene. Like you don't even
Yeah,
get like a second
nice,
on it.
Nice.
But I saw it and I read it and I was like, that's clever. Like that's real.
Yeah,
That's their world. Like you're
I like
saying,
that.
Jason. That's exactly it.
I like
like,
that.
That's what their world is. And I just liked
Mhm.
it. I thought it was something to nod to. I'm like, good to you.
Nice,
Good
nice
attention
catch.
to detail. So anyway, yeah. End credit scene. The first one.
Oh my god.
First one is
Zendaya does not like the swing on the spider web.
No.
Leads
She
into
looked
this
like she was gonna
post-credit
vomit.
scene.
I would have loved
Oh
it
my
if
God.
she would have vomited
Oh my
all
god.
over the spider suit.
But yeah, so that's when we get the end of the date, which was the ending of the movie.
Oh,
is
shit.
The beginning
The
of said
beginning-
date.
The beginning of
Actually,
their date.
I
end
have
of
a
the date
question.
in like a 5-minute period.
What's your question, Jason?
when Superman took Lois up for flight the first time, he was
Mhm.
slow, he was sensual, he was kind of like making love.
Trying to
Peter
make
Parker
romance
just
and-
went in all like, I've been watching
Aggressive.
Pornhub for years. I'm just he went into rough.
First of all, he's 15. Secondly, it's hard to differentiate because Superman can fly, whereas he just swings. So that's
Yeah.
a lot of momentum and
Yeah.
I guess you
centrifugal
can't
force
really
is pushing.
you
Toby-
can't
him.
really control the velocity on that
Toby
one. huh?
That's physics, is what that
did it.
is.
But there's different ways he could have like.
Toby Maguire made it sensual.
He
didn't
could
roughneck it.
have taken it slower.
Mhm.
Yeah, just fucking magic carpet ride, people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I don't know. I think they're paying more attention
Oh,
to physics than Sam Raimi did.
So upon,
They didn't pay too much
upon
attention.
I am. But yeah,
I agree. I know.
But yeah, it
Jason,
felt-
you're not wrong. I thought the same thing. I'm like,
he
my
just
God,
went
he's
into
going
it
wild.
too rushed. What?
He's
Sorry.
going wild.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she doesn't have the same reflexes he does. There's a good chance she snaps her neck like Gwen Stacy.
Mhm. Oh shit.
Boom,
All right.
Spoilers for another
All
Spider-Man
right,
movie.
I'm done with my jokes, but All right, so yeah, then we're done with that date. We're
What was
done
the
with this
breaking news?
Oh, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, I loved it. This is probably
thought it
my
was
this kid.
my most happiest moment of this
Yeah.
entire film is that J.K. Simmons
and a lot of
playing who?
fans too.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Ooh,
But
from Tobey Maguire films, right?
no,
Well, J. Jonah Jameson is the head of the Daily Bugle.
But it's a what?
It's a web. It's a web news site.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but what
But
is
what
it?
the
It's a different version. And what did we just talk about earlier that Quentin was BSing about?
Oh, multiverse stuff.
Oh, multiverse stuff. This is our first indication of multiverse because it is J.K. Simmons playing the same character, but not the same character as he was before.
I do feel like
Right.
you're overthinking that, but I'm too
No,
it was
stupid to get
intentionally
it.
not.
It was an intentional thing. Yeah, it was straight up intentional.
Well, they
He's
did
still
that
playing
shit in
the same character,
WandaVision. We'll get there.
but
as
he's
well.
bald in this one.
Yeah.
He's crowning.
He wasn't bald.
Yeah. In this one, he just had he had crown.
Yeah, he was
just had a
bald,
crown.
yeah.
Yep. But
God, I thought he still had
Obviously-
the top, the black top. Damn. Okay.
but
Oh
in
no,
the-
definitely no black top. Yeah.
no.
Maybe I was too concentrated on his like little Hitler mustache.
Yeah. But that's what I'm getting at. This is where we indicate
And the way he was talking, like, oh, that's funny.
this is the
Hitler.
indication of the multiverse.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That was like
for
the
sure.
little Easter egg, little, hey, guess what we're gonna start doing, guys? Here you go. There it is. Pay
Yeah.
attention next
I
time.
was like definitely observant of the fact that it wasn't a newspaper. It was like a news website.
Yeah.
And like that part I got. But yeah, I didn't even really put together that it would have been a multiverse thing.
Yeah, that's what this, like I said, this entire film
Yeah.
was just to introduce
Right
the
on.
idea of the multiverse. And I think they did it without being aware of doing the multiverse itself. Because I don't think they were prepared for it until halfway through. Because
Or they
Doctor
were just
Strange
te-
is what we
Or
did.
they were just testing the waters,
That's
dipping the
what
toe,
I'm saying.
and
Yeah, that's
seeing
what I'm
how
saying,
people reacted to it, and like how
Yeah.
much we wanted the multiverse.
Yeah.
You mean the
And
same
that's
way
what
they
I'm
did the
getting at. That's
Infinity
what I'm saying.
Stones
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Thor
Yeah.
or the Dark World? Yeah.
Dark
When they
World.
refer to the second,
Yeah.
that's when they started to like really dive into the Infinity Stones a little bit in the post credit scenes.
And that's I feel the same thing. That's exactly what I was kind of getting at. Is I think this was like, pay attention. Let's see what we're gonna do next.
Can I
So-
say something before we get to the fucking the reveal here on the post credit? I think
post-credit scene.
yeah,
Oh,
I think the joke is things taken out of context. Like sound bites, like what they do on YouTube and like how they like try to make people look bad when they say something like a famous person will say something technically racist, but a YouTuber will cut it up and they're called sound bites or some shit to make it sound very racist.
it's not even you.
But
Like,
we're really with the original context was really just a joke. But then you guys with
I was
me?
like, you, yeah, I know exactly me, but
yeah, you're being very vague. But
Yeah.
you're talking
not
about
smart
the
enough
Quentin
to
thing, right?
Yes.
You're talking about the whole. Yeah. Okay.
but
We're
I mean,
following, but-
newspapers and stuff like that have done that before too. It's not a new thing. That's called sensationalism.
No, I just mean
It's chopping it up.
new in the way of social media. Like the way they delivered this information, the way it was cut up to
Well, it's
look.
still done as a news
make
report.
look-
And like he's saying, the news has been
Fair
doing that
enough.
forever. They take
Fair
what they
enough.
want, they piece it together, and then they sell it
Mhm.
to their
Mhm.
point of view to get the reaction. That's why you have several different, like they
Yeah,
say, Fox
several different
News is
views.
Republican. It's ruled
Yeah.
by the right wing
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
they
yeah.
take this stand all the
They
time.
they take the same story, skew it one way, whereas one place will take it and skew it another way.
Yeah.
It's all about they
Right.
basically chop shit up.
But I
Yeah,
feel like
media
the
does that
way
all the
they delivered this post credit scene and this way of outing Peter Parker as Spider-Man was a joke on that shit, or like I don't know.
I don't think it was a joke necessarily. I think it was just
not a joke or
the
joke's
way that they
not the
did
right
it.
word, but it was a way to say things can be taken out of context and it's not cool.
Absolutely
what-
agree.
I think what's interesting is the fact that this basically lets you know that they didn't get the rest of Quentin's team. They just got Quentin.
Yeah.
So the rest of them are
They're
still out
there.
Yeah, that one dude that he threatened, he's like, "Oh, if I have to kill Peter Parker, this
Peter
is
Piper.
on you," or Peter Piker
Piper?
on the roof. But the guy behind the computer, like there was a
Mhm.
moment where it was probably
Yeah, he's the one who released everything. That was his
never
contingency
mind.
plan.
That just all clicked.
Yep.
I wasted your time.
Don't you hate when that happens? When you make it a good point. Like, oh yeah, I just fucking said
Yep,
that.
it happens once in an episode for me. All right.
But what was the big reveal? What did we see during that news report?
It was basically a chopped up video clip revealing Mysterio basically saying that Peter Parker is the cause of, or Spider-Man is the cause of the attack and everything on London. And that he's like, I'm not going to make it, which he doesn't, he dies. But he then uses a chopped up soundbite of executing kill orders and having Peter, who was initially saying execute like the shutdown of everything. They use, he says execute everything. It's basically a bunch of sound bites clipped together to make it sound like he basically launched the attack. And then at the end, Mysterio gives away his real identity and the picture of him out of nowhere. He gets a picture, like a class picture of him.
Well, I felt like that might have been on the news side of it. I feel like
well, he says the real Spider-Man's real name is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he says it. That picture.
But I just feel like J.K.
I don't think
Simmons
an actual news station shouldn't have like access to a school photo like that.
Point.
Yeah. Well, we better wrap this up because
they're not even allowed to, minors and shit like that.
Right.
But
yeah, we basically get the reveal that Peter Parker is now Spider-Man. It's revealed to the world.
The world finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Can you guys agree it's the best cliffhanger of all MCU films?
It was great.
For sure.
Especially his what the I loved it.
Yeah.
The first time I
great.
could really accept the swearing and then cutting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great.
They
great
try that a lot.
Yeah.
What was the post credit scene?
This I missed.
This we find out that
Nick Fury
Kobe's
Maria
Maria Hill.
Yeah. They are, what's the word?
Kree.
Skrull?
Or not, Skrull.
Skrulls.
I was saying the Kree are Oh, so
Skrull.
Nick Fury and Maria Hill are Skrulls.
They were not
okay.
real. They were Skrulls. Yeah.
Oh,
They were the Captain Marvel people.
And then they have a conversation on the phone with Nick Fury, and it cuts to him on vacation, but also at work with no shoes.
He's in the spaceship with the Kree or with the Skrull.
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to keep calling him
He's so
Kree.
far from Earth.
Kree is easier to say.
And he's like in a hologram kind of thing, and he just no shoes off, and then walks out into this giant spaceship that has the Skrull. So and I think this is where we're going to be introducing to the Secret Wars later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna
Secret Wars or Secret Invasion, the series.
Wars.
Both probably.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Secret Invasion, I think, is the series. I think
Secret Invasion
Wars
is
the
coming up soon.
Yeah. And I think Secret Wars is then the Avenger movie.
Secret Wars is supposed to be the next Endgame for Phase 4.
Yeah.
Is what I've been learning about, and I'm not gonna. I'll talk about that in the future.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the reveals from the last Comic-Con where they revealed all of Phase 5. Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit.
I was excited. I was like,
yeah, and they fucking.
That's my heart.
Anyways,
coming out of my chest.
You have 2 of them?
Yes. One on each side.
Should get that checked out.
Okay.
Yeah, we basically find out that
alien.
Nick Fury and Maria Hill
You must be a Skrull.
were not actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill. They were the Skrull people. That was the whole point.
No wonder he's acting like a dick.
Yeah. So when they said don't invoke her name, that's why.
That explains it. Yeah, I guess that explains it. I wish I had seen that scene so that I would have fucking known.
Check it out. Yeah. I never saw it before either till today or yesterday. But
you know, my problem is whatever. I don't know. I got nothing actually because this is a Voodoo thing, not a Disney Plus. I got nothing.
Oh, and this is probably the first film we get no Stan Lee cameo.
This was the first. I did read that this was the first.
And we get we get a dedication at the ending on the credits.
for sure.
Yeah, because I think in Endgame or Infinity War they CGI'd his appearance or something like that. Him in the
They
car.
did that in Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Oh no, man, sorry. I'm. That was the last physical.
Yeah, he
Okay, thank
CGI'd
you.
in
Captain
as
Marvel. Yeah, he was CGI'd in the Endgame when
Okay.
they went back in time into the
Yep.
and it's like
Yep.
make love, not war, or whatever.
Yep.
yeah.
And before that, he was CGI'd in the car as like a 70s.
That's what I was talking about.
That's exactly what he's talking about.
What?
Yeah, he's only in the movie once.
Yeah.
We had
Drink your beer.
It was a 2-part episode. I got confused for us. Anyways,
All right, well, let's wrap this up before my internet fucking goes to shit again.
oh
Yeah, no
shit,
shit, right?
Choppy.
Yeah.
All right,
But yeah,
Chappy.
that has been.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Webcams. I don't know.
3 out of 5 web blasters.
How many web stuff do you want to give it?
Give it a 3.5. I mean, it was pretty decent. I mean, I didn't hate it. I'll put it that way.
No, I don't hate it. And the more we talked about it, I like it more. But let's get out of here before Tim.
Yeah,
shuts
what
down.
was it that made this not so appealing?
It just didn't have any wow factor.
Yeah.
It just had it was just mediocre.
It didn't raise the stakes the same way Homecoming did.
But which is also appropriate reacting to Endgame. You don't need to raise the stakes. You need to kind of fall down.
I think
you
it's
need
just
to
a slow
descend.
progression to get to where
Yeah.
we were later. So.
Which is a
The
smart
next-
choice.
The next
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Fuck, the next Spider-Man.
Oh my
film.
God. No, we're gonna talk for another 20 minutes. You bring that fucking film
Yeah,
up.
I'm just excited. That's all.
Get out of here before your internet cuts out. Tell the people that you love
Do it.
them and you have to say goodbye.
I have to agree with you guys. I think I'll give this a 3.5. It was better the second time around than I
Yeah.
recalled, but I saw a lot more
Yeah.
things. And,
For sure.
It definitely
I'm gonna
wasn't
go.
bad.
I'm gonna raise it to 0.5 because you guys talking with you made it better. All right.
All right, well, that has been Spider-Man Far From Home.
Biatch.
Nugan. And yeah, please come check us out. Check us the other episodes and stay tuned for our next episodes. We'll be talking about only murders in the building. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Later.
I love Spider-Man.
Hurt feelings make me laugh.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to check us out. Jason, where can we be heard?
I don't know, Tim. Where can we be
Well,
heard?
let me tell you where we can be heard. You can find us on all the other platforms that you find podcasts, like iTunes and Amazon Music,
Oh, them places you find all your favorite and popular podcasts.
yeah, Spotify.
That's where I listen to podcasts, and nowadays you can rate your podcast on there. Go ahead and give us 5 stars on Spotify or any other platform you listen to your favorite podcast on.
And Spotify.
If you want to watch us, you can find us on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, give it a share, you got a comment, all the algorithm stuff. It helps.
And if you want to comment on how bad and terrible we are doing or how ugly we look, just send us an email at banterbros@gmail.com.
And that's A-N-D, you said, between the B's?
A-N-D in between the B. You can also check us out on the multiple social platforms that consume everybody's life, like the YouTube, the Twitch, the Twitter, the TikTokity, and the Instagrammy, including Facebook. So please, come check us out. We'll catch you next time.
Okay.